It's a terrible football show, all right?
I want whatever you guys are smoking right now.
Come on, Shane. OH. OH.
Oh,
we
baby,
go.
yeah! Shane, I swear to God.
Welcome to a terrible football show.
That's my quarterback and my teammate, man.
Ruins my fucking holiday every damn year.
Alex,
What up?
you can thoroughly kiss my ass.
Why not let us decide the top four?
Yeah, let a terrible football show
Let a terrible
decide the top
football
four.
show.
Fuck you, Shane.
Roll Tide. Have a good one, guys.
Oh,
Have a good
fuck
one.
off. Oh, yeah, he's got to go. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
You know, I like that Baker Mayfield and myself, man. He was baking up there in the Browns, and it just turned into a big old shit pile. So,
Get that right. I will fly you out and take you to a game in Dallas of your fucking choice.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's successful at just giving his terrible opinions, so why can't I? It's a terrible football show after all. Welcome to a Terrible Football Show, episode 70. Hopefully you're having a phenomenal day today, whether if you're watching this live or watching this after the fact or listening to it after the fact on the many audio platforms that we're on. We appreciate the hell out of you. It's just me and Shane this week. Of course, Jacob is on a very lovely vacation, I hope, and I hope he's having an absolutely wonderful time. And Ricky had some stuff pop up, involving some of like the referee stuff that he's been doing and everything. He might not be available next week either, but me and Shane hold it down this week. Shane, buddy, how you doing, my guy?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Looking back to getting back to the OGs here. Just me and you.
That's true.
We're gonna rock out.
That's true.
Episode 70?
70.
So
Yeah. Man, 70 episodes. I was thinking about this earlier whenever I was, getting the episode title and stuff. I'm just like, man, there's going to come a time where episode numbers won't be a thing anymore because we're going to be, hopefully at some point, a daily show, and it's just going to be based on the date. So, enjoy the episode numbers while we got them.
yeah.
But no, today's episode, of course, AFC predictions, which will also include like our Super Bowl predictions based on who we had going to the Super Bowl in the NFC last week. As well as award winners as well. Just going to throw something out there for award winners. Next week begins our 2 weeks of college football. Next week we got Group of 5 going over conference winners and our favorite or second favorite teams if they're applicable in that situation. And the week after that, Power 5, even though Power 5 kind of feels like a dead term now. Not kind of, it does feel like a dead term now, but Power 5 is still what we're calling it. And, a couple weeks from now, we'll go through some Power 5 stuff, which I think that is the episode that Ricky will be back, and he's already said last week, he sent me in text earlier that he's definitely got some stuff that's going to upset Jacob specifically. So can't wait for that. And probably Shane, maybe you too. We'll see. He may have something upset you.
We'll see.
But no, looking forward to today's episode for sure because AFC is just like a powerhouse. We did have the NFC win the Super Bowl just a couple years ago with the Rams, but I mean the AFC just across the board is such a powerful conference. And I'm looking forward to kind of breaking it down and just going through it. I do have all the boys' predictions as well, so I'll be reading those off as we go. Ricky sent me an email for his earlier. Jacob sent me a list for his earlier last week, and I still have Steve's from a couple weeks back. And I do want to shout out for Jacob. When he sent me his list, he sent as a Google Doc, and he told me, do not open it until Tuesday. Jacob, if you're listening, I want you to know I did not open it until I got out here. So I don't know what's on here, Jacob. I paid respects to your request. I have no idea what's on here besides the first 3 conferences that I see. I don't know anything else. I guess I don't know the bottom conference or anything. But, definitely looking forward to getting into it. One thing that I definitely want to shout out, of course, is our poll predictions. You can join those for free. I got links down the description below for college football and pro. You can join for free, compete against us, compete for a prize. It's just predicting games every single week. It's a lot of fun. Shout out to all of our winners last year. Hopefully, I'll be taking home a crown this year. Looking forward to it. Shane, hopefully you can take home a crown. But I mean, why do you care? You already took home a crown in fantasy and got some money, so you setting pretty. This year is just extra bonus for you. But hopefully one of us can take home a crown this year. Jacob and Ricky both took home a crown last year, so shout out to that. But yeah, you can join in the polls, compete against us. Join the Discord, come chat with us, be part of the show. We'll pull you up as a guest caller, so a lot of good stuff there. And of course, check out Agent Ink. Pick up a jersey like I'm rocking right now. We have some of the best jerseys on the entire store, and we'd 100% appreciate that support. Well, Shane, before we jump into AFC stuff, you got anything that you want to shout out? I guess the only thing that I saw is that we did get. I'm going to air quote it because it's a believe it when I see it sort of situation. But we got air quote official confirmation that, college football game is coming out next summer from EA Sports. I believe it when I see it. That's why I want to do the air quotes. But shout out to that, I guess. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was supposed to be released,
This year?
Last month?
Yeah.
So, I'll believe it when I see it, but, they kind of gave my hopes up when they said, oh, it's delayed until at least 2024. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And then, of course, massive shout out to conference realignment in college football. We're not going to dive into it today, but I'm definitely itching to chat about it over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that is ATFS predicted the Pac-12 is going to die.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I don't know when we did it a while ago, but I mean, the writing was on the wall with the media deal and everything, and just seeing USC and UCLA wanting to bounce, and Oregon and Washington wanting to fall behind them, and then everyone else started going, and now it's down to the Pac-4, which includes my Beavs. I feel bad for the Beavs and the Cougs, man. They're just going to get shafted in this whole situation. Stanford, I think, will find a home. Stanford, just based on academics and what they bring to the table with other athletics. I mean, I understand football's the big money maker, but you got to think, coming out of Stanford, man, they have like Olympic gold medalists that are coming out of there. You've got an excellent basketball program for women's basketball. I think they have a good softball program as well. They've got a lot of stuff going for them. Now, Cal, my guy, I don't know what's going to happen with Cal. Like I've been reading comments on Cal online about it, and I see even people from the area and people that went to Cal where they're just like, I fully believe all athletics will get canned after so long. Like they don't bring anything to the table to any conference, in my opinion. Because I didn't fact check any other academic athletic programs they have. I don't know how good they are, but like as far as off the top of my head, just roughly kind of paying attention to other college sports, I don't see Cal anywhere. So I do kind of question what Cal brings to the table. Cal is going to be the one that's going to be the big question mark if they even make it out of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, I honestly think, just of what we predicted, I don't even know how many months ago, but it's going to come down, there's going to be 2 major conferences.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be like little bitty conferences kind of maybe dispersed here and there, maybe, because I just don't see teams like, some teams in the Mountain West, some teams in the MAC or the Sun Belt. Like, I don't see them being able to bring much to like what I think is going to be the 2 big conferences, right? And I think it's going to be pretty much divided eventually to like basically a North and a South.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And they may divide it up more up into 4, kind of like what we see somewhat in the NFL. But, eventually I think there's going to be at least just 2 major conferences, and everybody else is kind of fend for themselves. Kind of like mid-majors or whatever.
See, that and that's what I sent in our Discord, which you can join. Make sure to join. Where, in my opinion, I think with how the conference alignment is going and where we're kind of going with it, I think a direction that needs to be looked at is basically breaking Division 1 up into 3 different subsections versus 2, where it's, FBS and FCS. I think it needs to be broken up into like Division 1A, Division 1B, Division 1C. Division 1C essentially being what FCS is now, Division 1A being air quotes kind of what FBS is now, and Division 1B being a newly made version of Division 1 that's basically all the leftover teams from the FBS. The ACC teams no one's going to want, the Pac-4, the Mountain West, the Conference USAs, the Sun Belts, the Americans, all those, like be basically 1B, and give them their own championship series, where you have you have the Division 1C champion, which would essentially be the FCS champion we know today, which I think was South Dakota State last year. And then you have whatever champion would win in Division 1B, and then whoever would win in 1A, so like Georgia, for example. Like, I think that should be a future to consider, because, I mean, the more that this conference realignment goes, the more that you're just going to see SEC, Big Ten. If Big 12 can produce legitimate championship contenders, TCU was kind of obviously a one-off and got their shit wrecked. If they can produce legitimate championship contenders, then okay, sure, we have a big three of conferences. ACC I know is there, but I'm not really counting them because we know Florida State wants out, Miami wants out, Clemson wants out, North Carolina wants out. Once that happens, that conference is dead. You know what I mean? So
then we're looking at 3 conferences, and
if Big
and
12
even
can
then-
predict, competitors, that's the thing.
yeah, and even then, like each conference would have 16 to 18 teams
Yeah.
a piece,
Yeah, exactly.
if not more. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, college football, love it, but man, it's changing in a disappointing way. It is what it is. But no, definitely looking forward to chatting about that over the next 2 weeks. A lot to chat about in terms of the college football landscape. But let's finish things up strong here with pro football. We had the Hall of Fame game. Shout out to the lights going off and people getting a good shot of Aaron Rodgers in the dark. That meme just came back around full circle in beautiful fashion. But yeah, shout out to the Hall of Fame game. A lot of people tuned in because people want football. I want football. We all want football. It's coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. But let's do AFC predictions. I don't really know what conference we want to start in. Shane, pick a conference. Pick a division. Pick a division. You pick. Let's start.
Let's do the much anticipated AFC East. Let's start strong here.
All right. Now, here's the question. How do we want to go about this? Because I was thinking about this earlier. Do you want me to kind of go through all the boys stuff and then we get to our stuff for each division?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do that. I'll start with Steve, because Steve is he just sent me his records. He didn't send me any extra thoughts. The boys, Jacob and Ricky, I got stuff. If they didn't say I had to read it, but I will read it for the most part. If the show gets too long, I may not read it all, but we'll see. In Steve's case, he has the Jets coming in with a 15-2, Bills with a 13-4, Dolphins with a 12-5, and the Patriots 1-16. Steve, my God, Lord have mercy. That's not even the worst part. Wait till you hear his AFC West. I just noticed it. Holy shit. All right, let's drop over to Ricky. Let's see, AFC East. Here we go. So his AFC East headline, quote, "Can't believe I'm falling for this Aaron Rodgers crap. Jets are going to win the East, but it's going to be highly competitive. In my opinion, the Jets schedule does a ton of favors for them. I agree 1,000,000% on that one. Miami could be a sneaker once again, but Tua can't stay healthy. My biggest may surprise anyone. The Bills will miss the playoffs." Ricky, if you're listening to this, which I know you do, I know you listen to shows afterwards, I want you to know that our residential Buffalo Bills fan, Tyler, has been beating that drum for probably 6 months now that he thinks the Bills are going to miss the playoffs this year. So you may not be super far-fetched on that one. For his records, he has the Jets going 12-5, the Dolphins 11-6, the Bills 10-7, and the Patriots 8-8, which I assume he meant 8-9, of course. And then going over to Jacob. Jacob has the Bills winning the division at 11-6. Dolphins and Jets both at a 10-7, and the Patriots at a 7-10. His key takeaway is health permitting, the Miami Dolphins offense, also known as a track team, will continue to lap their opposition in 2023 with additions of the defensive coordinator Vic Fangio and cornerback Jalen Ramsey. But Jalen Ramsey, let's remind everyone, he's not probably going to come back to this team until November or December based on injuries. Keep that in mind. Miami's defense should catch up to all their star-studded offense and form an incredibly dangerous team, of course. Tua has to stay healthy. He has showed he's a franchise quarterback talent last year, but tough end of the season. But even though that's the case, he still has the Bills coming out on top. So for me, first and foremost, I want to say, based on everyone's thoughts in this division, I feel like, I don't know yours yet, Shane, but I'm kind of in line with them, where I think the Patriots will come in last, and then the other 3 spots I think are literally just a game or two apart, where they could just be all over the place, So for me, I've got the Jets going 13-4. I have the Dolphins going 12-5. The Bills 11-6, or I guess 11-7. Yeah. No, is it 11-6 or 11-7? It's 11-6. 11-6.
11-6, yeah.
Okay. And then the Patriots 6-11. So I definitely see a decline for the Patriots this year, but it's not because the Patriots is like necessarily a bad team. I just think their division's too good because I have the Patriots going 1-5 in the division. I mean, that's most of their losses right there. I am jumping on board with the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon. I think the Dolphins are going to be a very good team if two can stay healthy. And with how my records played out, even though the Bills are 11-6, I do have the Bills missing the playoffs. I have, the Jets and the Dolphins are playoff clinched. You'll hear soon who else I've got going to the playoffs, but I do have the Bills missing the playoffs. I really do think between Jets, Dolphins, and Bills, this is going to be a very highly competitive division, probably the most highly competitive division in all of the NFL for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I would agree. My thing is, I think two of these teams are in competition right now, not only to win the division, which the Dolphins can compete too, but I just don't know if they can stay healthy right now, especially like you said with Jalen Ramsey gone pretty much gone for half the season.
Yep.
Who knows if Tua can stay healthy? So to me, it's a two horse fight right now. And honestly, I think who wins that fight depends on who wins the fight before the season even gets started, or even maybe early into the season. Because I think whoever signs Dalvin Cook is gonna get the upper hand.
Right.
Because both of these teams are missing that running back to kind of push them over the level. I know the Jets probably have a little bit deeper as far as they're probably more comfortable with their backs. They like the group of backs they have, because I think they have like 4 right now or something ridiculous. And I know they just drafted Breece Hall, but again, a rookie running back. But yeah, I have the Patriots bottom of it. I have them going 5-12. Dolphins third at 7-10, and then I think the Jets signed Dalvin Cook and make the difference. So therefore, I'm gonna have the Bills second at 11-6, and the Jets 12-5.
Okay.
But I think the Bills do make the playoffs. I think that even with that team, I still think that team's just too talented to not make the playoffs.
Right.
I think they sweep everybody in the division, probably except for maybe the Jets, and I think if they can split with the Jets, I think they can get in.
Yeah. So for me and how I have these teams going, I have the Jets going like 4-2, Dolphins 4-2, and Bills 3-3. So looking at the Jets, I had in terms of division, I had them losing at home, losing in Miami, and losing in Buffalo, and that's their 2 losses there. And then they take the home wins. For the Dolphins, again Dolphins lose in New York. And what was the other loss that I had lined out for division? Oh, I had the Patriots sneaking 1, which is something the Patriots would do. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is going to be the most highly contested, conference that there is. I think the Bills. I think there's some games on here that the Bills could drop. I think Week 5, and I'm not saying this as a fan of the team. I'm saying this for multiple reasons. Week 5, Jacksonville and Buffalo in London. I think that's a game that the Bills can lose, and Jacksonville is going to catch that dub. Which, if that happens, what's wild though, and this is I feel like going to be one of the biggest factors for why we may see the Bills miss the playoffs. You look at their first 5 games, right? You have Monday night in New York. I've got the Jets winning. You have the next week with the Raiders, easy win for the Bills. Next week, Commanders, easy win for the Bills. And then week 4, Dolphins in Buffalo, but Dolphins. I've got Dolphins winning. Week 5 in London against the Jags. I got Jags winning. So you're starting off 2-3, after the first 5 weeks. Then you can go on a little bit of a stretch, sure, and then you just hit back-to-back whammies with Philly and KC that I've got them losing both games. In weeks 12 and week 14, they have a bye week, week 13. So I could definitely see the Bills pulling it out and making the playoffs. But I mean, their schedule's got some problems. And with what Ricky said, where the Jets just their schedule does them a lot of favors, my God, it does. they got some tough matchups early, the Cowboys and the Chiefs especially, but you got the Broncos. I think the Jets got that one, especially with all the heat around that game right now, but with all the trash talk going on. I got the Jets in that. Then you have the Eagles. That's going to be a really hard one. Then you play the Giants. You play the Chargers, which are known to drop games. You play the Raiders. You got the Bills I think they can beat. You have the Falcons. You have the Texans. You have the Commanders. You have the Browns. You have the Patriots. All like that end half of the year. Like it just works out in their favor. All right, let's go to the North. Let's go to the AFC North because it was just the next thing in line for, I think, this is Jacob's predictions. So for the North, he's got the Bengals going 11-6, the Browns 10-7, the Ravens 9-8, and the Steelers 8-9, which would be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. Keep that in mind. His key takeaway, the Cincinnati Bengals have hit a point where we know what to expect from them. Their offense will be excellent, and their defense, despite replacing several key secondary members, will operate at a high level. They must survive the AFC North, and they'll be major Super Bowl contenders. Let's see. For Ricky, in AFC North, Cleveland is once again the laughing stock of the NFL. Cleveland should have a full season with. I'm not gonna drop the hard R like he does, But anyway. Cleveland should have a full season with Deshaun Watson. It's not going to help much because the division could be the best in football this season next to the NFC East. I don't know if you meant NFC or AFC East, but either way. I have 3 teams going to the playoffs in this division. The Bengals will struggle early in the season without Joe Burrow, but I believe their schedule highly favors them in the last 6 weeks of the season. That's very true. The Ravens will make a comeback this season as long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy. Mike Tomlin will prove once again why he is one of, if not the best coach in football. He's got the Bengals going 13-4, the Ravens 12-5, the Steelers 11-6, and the Browns, he put, quote, who cares at this point? So, shout out to that. And then lastly, Steve, Bengals 16-1. That's bold, my guy. That is bold. This was probably also before Joe Burrow injury, though. Ravens 11-6, the Browns 8-9, and the Steelers 4-13. So, Shane, what about you? What do you got for the AFC North?
Honestly, I have this AFC North kind of closer. I think this division's kind of closer than what people think. I think the Browns, even though they're probably going to be the worst team in this division, I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL by far. They may be a bottom 10 team, but bottom 10's a lot better than bottom 3. Even if it is divided by less than 5 games. But I say probably every team will have a winning record in this division. I could really see that. So I have both the Browns and Steelers going 9-8. With the Browns coming at the bottom, Steelers finishing third. And then I have the Ravens 10-7 and the Bengals kind of slipping away from what they did last year with their 12-4 record last year, going 11-5 this year. Okay,
all right. Yeah, and you know what? Me and you are kind of in the same boat with that one. I've got the Browns bottom here, but I don't have them going 1-16 or some shit. I've got them going 8-9. That does include getting a dub week 1 against the Bengals because I'm kind of in the mindset of while the team is good, not having Joe. Shout out to my dog; she's in here with me. Both dogs are in here with me. But I do believe that the Bengals will struggle early. In fact, I've got the Bengals starting 0-2, losing to the Browns and the Ravens, but then catching a dub on the Rams and kind of picking it up from there. But I've got the Steelers going 9-8, missing the playoffs. I think this is a team that still needs some work, and I think we need to see more out of Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? I love Kenny Pickett, but I think we need to see more out of him. And the Steelers could sway this. Let me pull up the Steelers schedule real quick. The Steelers could easily sway this, man. They could, catch multiple dubs. I have them starting. For God's sake, 4-1. They can, 5-1. I got them starting 5-1. And then losing week 8, catching a couple more dubs, and then losing to the Browns, losing to the Bengals. I have them losing to the Patriots because that feels like a game that could be a sneaky Patriot win, but the Steelers could easily take that. The Steelers could beat the Browns week 11. I've got the Seahawks winning week 17. Steelers could take that dub. There are just some sneaky. The losses that I have for the Steelers that basically take them out of playoff contention are sneaky losses. You know what I mean? Just like trap games that I see. I've got the Bengals going 12. I mean, not the Bengals. I got the Ravens going 12-5, making the playoffs, and the Bengals going 13-4. Even with the Joe Burrow injury, like I said, I got them starting 0-2 and then kind of picking up the pace from there. After that, after he's back, man, there's only a couple games I could see them losing. The Bills is one that I had. The Bills coming out on top, and the Chiefs in Week 17. But I mean, I think the Bengals are going to be poised for it. It's like what Jacob said. They're just, we know what to expect out of the Bengals at this point. High-powered offense, and I think even without Joe Burrow, I think the team will be fine. But behind a good running game, you got Jamar Chase, you got I'm drawing a blank on his name. Who's the other receiver? I'm drawing a blank on his damn name. Oh my God.
Yeah, I am too.
He could be a number one guy somewhere, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. So hard. I feel bad. He's a good receiver. But no, I mean the team is good. I think they'll be fine even with a backup quarterback. Personally,
Do we know who's starting for them
I don't remember who their backup
in
is.
the
Let me look.
absence?
Yeah, let me look.
Because I know it was Brendan Allen, but he's with the 49ers now.
Yeah, let me look. I'm actually not sure who their.
But while you do that, I'll kind of speak on Steelers and Browns again. I think they'll be pretty much the same teams, but in ways opposites, right? I think the Browns will kind of probably win a game or two that they're not supposed to, and I think the Steelers will probably lose a game or two that they're not supposed to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I could very easily see the Steelers slipping up against a team like, the Texans that they're probably not really supposed to lose, but they do anyways. And then on the flip side, I could see the Browns, winning a game, against the Bengals or against the Ravens that they're really not supposed to be winning. So.
Yeah. And it's gonna be Trevor Siemian.
Okay. So I mean, at least it's a guy with experience.
Yeah.
Maybe not very good experience, but
experience. He can get the job done in some capacity. He can throw it up to Jamar Chase. He's got at least that. No, he can throw it to Jamar Chase and he can hand it off in the backfield. He'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's head to the South. Let's head to the South because I feel like the West is a little bit more interesting conversation to end on than the AFC South. AFC South, I feel like, is pretty lackluster in some ways. All right, let's start with Steve because Steve's fucking high as a goddamn kite. Steve, if you're listening to this back, and I know you are because you did last week, I want you to know how much of an idiot you are, and I will bet money with you right now how horribly wrong you are on these predictions. This man's got the Titans going 12-5, and that includes them going 6-0 in the division. That's where you're high as a kite. Like, if the Titans magically get a winning record, that won't shock me, okay? But the fact they would go 6-0 in the division, have that good of a record, first off, that's insulting to the Jacksonville Duval Jaguars. Kiss my ass. And secondly, that's just a bad take in my opinion. I don't see the Titans being very competitive this year. And I could be wrong. It's still the Titans. They got Derrick Henry. They can just hand the ball off to forever. Then he has the Jaguars going 7-10 alongside the Colts going 7-10 and the Texans going 3-14. I have a lot of disagreements with that, but me and old Stevie, we can take that up another day. So next up we have Ricky. I'll go through his. All right, let's see. AFC South, weakest division, the second weakest division in football. I agree to that. Keynotes, high possibility Titans will set Henry towards midseason. Could tank to get a high draft pick. Personally, it's time for a rebuild. They do have some young talent to build around. I agree to that. Don't get me wrong with the Colts. Texans is also starting to build by accepting to win more games this season. The Jags will be the best team in the South by far, and no one will come close to second, in my opinion. I agree. He's got the Jags going 13-4, the Titans 6-11, the Texans 5-12, and the Colts 4-13. So I do agree with a lot of that, actually. In fact, now look at that. Mine and his might be almost identical, if I'm going to be honest with you. No, it's not identical. It's not identical. But no, I mean, I definitely see that as strong, possibility. I think the Texans are going to win more games than people give them credit for because they don't really have anything to play for necessarily. They don't have a first round. They don't have anything to gain out of losing. So I think they don't have their first round draft picks. I think they're going to definitely be a lot more competitive team. My dogs are being very wild. Let's go to Sniper Cam. Now when I go to Sniper Cam, they stop. Well, you guys calm down. Chill out. Anyway, Then next up, we have the AFC South for Jacob. He has the Jags going 9-8, disrespectful. Titans going 7-10, the Colts going 6-11, and the Texans going 5-12. That, besides the Jaguars being 9-8, that one feels pretty, accurate as well. I feel like key takeaway. It finally felt like the Houston Texans took the rebuild seriously this offseason, hiring DeMeco Ryans and drafting both C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. Will give them franchise hope and some level of confidence. It should also help to have one of the most favorable schedules in the NFL, both in terms of strength and how it's structured. That is also why I think it's 100% possible for the Texans to win more games. Now, I will say, even though I could see the Titans sneaking away with a winning record, I just said that, and I stand by that. I truly do. I think the Titans are heading to a rebuild, and I'm very critically harsh on the Titans. Like, I really am. Like, aggressively harsh. And I'm looking at the schedule. I'll admit, there's probably some games in here I could change. I have the Titans at 1-16, okay? And I think it's also because they want their quarterback. I don't think it's going to be Will Levis. I really don't. I don't think 1-16 is 100% accurate. I'm looking at some of these games. They could win week 1 against the Saints. I don't see them winning against the Chargers. Week 3 against the Browns, they could sneak away with that dub. One of the Colts games, they can definitely, I have them winning at one of the Colts games. They could win both Colts games. So I think 1-16 is a little harsh. And if I had time to redo this, I probably would try to give them a few more wins. So that's on me. The Colts, I have 2-15 as well. I could see the Colts floating anywhere from 2 wins to like 6 wins. It just kind of depends on various factors. I just don't see this team being highly competitive this year because I don't think their schedule favors them that much. And at least my personal opinion, which is a terrible one, mind you. And the Texans, I have at 4-13. I could see them floating maybe 1 or 2 more wins as well. Just because I think their schedule does favor them, and I think this is going to be a highly competitive team. And then the Jaguars, I do have going 13-4 with some pretty big wins. Wins against the Bills. I have them beating the Steelers. But I do have them losing some games you would, in natural instinct, expect them to lose. I have them losing to the Ravens, losing to the Bengals, losing to the Niners, losing to the Chiefs. This division is going to be weak. I do think I'm being a little too harsh on the Colts and the Titans. I could see them getting some more wins than I have them projected. But I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them getting, maybe the Titans with double-digit wins right at 10, maybe, but that's a big stretch in my opinion. I just don't see this team being competitive. I don't think they're in the same realm as the Commanders where they're just like straight up trying to tank to get Caleb Williams, but I do think they're in that realm of where they're willing to do it. So I don't think Mike Vrabel's job will be on the line. I feel like this is something that they would just willingly do to plan for the future because I don't think Will Levis will be the future for them. We know Ryan Tannehill's not. So I definitely agree with that mindset that it's the second weakest division in football, though.
Yeah, I would agree. The only difference, which I think I've kind of broken off, the stigma that we've had with the Colts and Anthony Richardson. I started kind of really digging into his combine and stuff. I like the kid. He's super raw, but if he can put it together, I think he could be worth a couple of wins, I think.
Yeah.
So I do have the Texans being at the bottom. I think I had them like in the 4-6 range. Win-wise, I had the Titans just above them, unfortunately. I think right now, like, even though they're a young team, they're not going to be the greatest, but, I mean, you have Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, and Will Levis in that quarterback room, and they're all going to be clawing at each other's necks for that starting job.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, I don't think any of them are going to be the guy, like, for the future, which I had high hopes for Malik, coming out of Liberty, 2 years ago or whatever, so.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't think, any of those guys are going to be the guy. So I have them in the 7-10 range, much like last year. I have the Colts actually having a winning record at 9-8, second place in the AFC South.
Okay.
I think that's surprising because, I mean, given, I still think they have one of the best teams around Anthony Richardson. Now, given if the rumors are true that Jonathan Taylor's requested a trade, then I think that, you know, flips this team on a dime, and it will go bad very quickly. But as of right now, Jonathan Taylor's on the team. That's still a good team around Anthony Richardson. It just depends on what he does. And I agree. Jaguars win the division. I don't know if they get to 13 wins. But I could definitely see a 10 to 12 range. I think I have them at 11-6, winning the division. So
I appreciate that support, my guy.
yeah, do vote.
All the support. Now, speaking of all the support, you'll see a lot of support from Ricky here soon once we get to awards and stuff. That's for sure. But no, like, you know, this is a great time to be a Jags fan or a Jags supporter, because the Jags really can walk away with this division, you know, pretty easily, honestly. And I think a lot of stuff you said is 100% accurate, especially with the Colts. You know, like I said, if I would have looked at this before we started the show, I may have considered maybe, let's look at some of these games again for the Colts and the Titans. I do think I'm being a little bit harsh. Out of everyone's predictions of the AFC South, with the exception of the Jaguars, I definitely think I'm the one that's probably most in the wrong because of the Colts and the Titans. I think the Texans, I feel like, is about accurate. I think 4 to 5 wins, I think, is what we'll see out of that team. But the Colts, I think they could get a few more dubs, which would then obviously alter my NFC pick. So I'm locking it in. I'm leaving it alone. I'll take the L on the head. It's no big deal. But exciting time to be a Jags fan, especially when they're going to get 2 easy wins back to back in London against the Falcons and the Bills. And yes, the Bills will be an easy win. I hope. I think. All right. And then, of course, the AFC West, home of the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's start with Steve, because this is another one of those situations of like, holy shit, what happened? He is the Chiefs winning the division at a 13-4. The Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders, he has all 3 of them going 5-12.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's bold. I'm going to have to talk to him about some of these. I need to know his line of thinking on some of these. All right, let's go over to Ricky, AFC West, Chiefs, and nobody close. I can kind of agree with that. We'll see in a moment, though. The Raiders, with second-year head coach Josh McDaniels, will be another joke this season. Personally, McDaniels needs to go back to being a coordinator. I get and applaud my opportunity, any opportunity, but it's proven he's a better coordinator than a head coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. The Raiders' schedule is pretty brutal, in my opinion. I do agree that the schedule does not favor them at all. Chargers will be third in the division because I don't trust the head coach nor defensive coordinator. That's fair. Broncos won't make the playoffs because the AFC is strong, but as a whole, but with a keynote, I do believe Sean Payton has had only 3 losing seasons ever in his career, and most of those were around the Bounty Gate times. Jacob has the Chiefs going 12-5, the Chargers 10-7, the Broncos 8-9, and the Raiders 5-12. Key takeaway: it's a make or break season for the Chargers in many ways, with Justin Herbert set to cash in soon. Head coach Brandon Staley, which of course he has cashed in now. Head coach Brandon Staley has to prove he can win the big games and guide his team to the postseason with roster development. This team is highly talented, but has struggled to win in the margins, key moments. I do agree. So for me, with that said, the Chargers, if the Chargers drop the ball, don't make the playoffs, lose round 1 in the playoffs, I do think Brandon Staley is getting fired. I think Brandon Staley is on the hot seat because his team is too damn good for him not to be good. With that said, even though I think Brandon Staley is a big question mark, I'm going to take my gamble, and I'm going to say the Chargers are going to be a damn good football team. And Ricky's statement of it's the Chiefs and nobody close, I do agree with to an extent, with that one extent being the Chargers. I have the Chiefs winning the division at a 15-2 record, giving them the number 1 seed in the conference. And I have the Chargers being right behind them with a 14-3. And that 14-3 does involve them catching a dub on Kansas City. I think it's late. I think it's week 18. Yeah, week 18 in Los Angeles, I have the Chiefs winning that game. The only games I have the Chargers losing is the Chiefs week 7, the Jets week 9, and the Bills week 16. I think there's a few games in here that could be trap games for him, like maybe the Vikings, the Cowboys, even the Bears. I'll throw it out there. Even the Bears could be a potential trap game for him. The Lions week 10 as well. But right now, I think that I'm going to bank on the Chargers being a damn good football team. The Broncos, I have going 7-10, which is a vast improvement for them from last year. I think Sean Payton's first year, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff to figure out. There's always a lot of stuff to figure out in a first season under a new regime and everything. And it's going to be a make or break year for Russell Wilson if he's actually the guy or not. If he still is the guy that he once was. And then last, I do have the Raiders, and I have them going a brutal 1-16. I think I'm with Ricky, man. I think Josh McDaniels sucks as a head coach, and I think it's going to show, and he's going to get fired, and this team is going to struggle all year long with just the drama going around with Josh Jacobs, your best player. Jimmy G, I think, will have some failure moments. Devontae Adams is, Devontae Adams, yes, but I don't think we're going to see him pop off for 1,500 yards like we did last year. I think this team is going to really struggle this year. I think it's going to be a bad time to be a Raiders fan as long as Josh McDaniels the head coach.
Yeah. I think the Raiders are going to be competing for bottom threes. Our top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Now it's very, very well next year. Devontae Adams is going to be gone. Josh Jacobs is going to be gone. Jimmy G, once again, is going to be left with scraps.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate for him. I think they did get a slight improvement with that position from going from Derek Carr to Jimmy G, if Jimmy G can stay healthy. But at the end of the day, this team is just not put together to win games.
Yeah.
Not right now. Their brightest kind of player right now on that team is, other than Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, is that defensive end. I forgot his fucking name.
Max Crosby.
Even then, yeah. But even then, like I said, the 2 years before this year, really bad drafts, had some players getting, kicked out of the league pretty much. And then, like I said, confrontation with contracts with Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams not liking the situation there. They're going to be gone next year, whether it's via trade or free agency, however their contracts work out.
Yep.
So I have them bottom, like I said, 3-14. I have the Broncos improving, still not being a good team, but improving. Which it's not hard to improve from 5-12, right?
Yeah,
but,
true.
Even though I may not like Sean Payton as a person, he is a very good coach.
True.
Much like Pete Carroll. I guess I have that trend with my favorite teams. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Sean Payton gives improvements, and unfortunately, it is going to be another losing records or losing season for him. I would like to see them to get to 8 wins, but I don't think they'll get there. If they can steal 1 or 2, they could get there. But I think the low end is probably 6-11 for them. Mm-hmm. On the high end, 8. But they're definitely going to be in that range. I agree with the Chargers being number 2 and a lot closer to the Chiefs than what most people think. I think they've got all the key pieces. That receiver they drafted, Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, Quentin.
He looks like a stud from the training camp videos I've seen and things like that, and from what people have said about him. Which we had concerned about his drops.
Yeah, I was super critical on him. My prediction is that he's gonna be a bust. I was very critical on him, and I'm not gonna backpedal on it now. I'm gonna stick with it. If he proves me wrong, like Jamar Chase did, that's my most notable failure.
Yeah.
I'll backpedal.
For sure. I'm for sure sticking with it until he shows me something differently. It's a lot different when you have going against your teammates who's maybe or maybe not going 100% against you.
Yeah.
You go up against another team, they're, most of the time going to go 110% on you the whole entire time. So let's see what he's like when you get some actual competition against him, especially NFL talent. But at the end of the day, they're going to have a good team. I don't think Brandon Staley is going to be on the hot seat, even if they don't make the playoffs. Because at the end of the day, we all know how hard the AFC is, right?
Yep.
They're probably 8 to 10 deep right now. I mean, you could probably take the top 2 teams from every division and be like, yeah, they can contend. You know, if this happens, they can contend for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you cannot say that for the NFC. So I have them at 12-5, and the Chiefs at 13-4.
Okay. Yeah, no, and what you said about the AFC and just like the teams, I mean, that's 100% accurate. Besides, the AFC South, of course. I mean, you can take top 3 teams for a couple conferences and be like, they can contend. You know what I mean? AFC is just so loaded, man. Like, it makes it tough to kind of, predict which way it's going to go. I feel like any prediction anyone throws out there for like playoffs and stuff, I think it's all fair. I think it's fair. You can tell me that the Bengals will win. I'll say that's fair. You can tell me the Chiefs, that's fair. The Bills, that's fair. The Jags, that's fair. Chargers, that's fair. Dolphins, that's fair. Ravens, that's fair. List goes on. AFC is stacked. So, all right, let's get to the playoff predictions as well as Super Bowl prediction from the team we had going last week. So I'll start with Jacob. The way his seeding played out was 1 seed Chiefs, 2 seed Bengals, 3 seed Bills, 4 seed Jags, 5 seed Browns, 6 seed Chargers, 7 seed Dolphins. With that, he has the Bengals winning the AFC is how he has it playing out, going to the Super Bowl versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and he has the Bengals coming out on top for the Super Bowl wins. A shout out to that. For Ricky, let's see, his seeding plays off as Chiefs, Bengals, Jags, Jets, Ravens, Dolphins, and Steelers. And he has the Bengals going to the Super Bowl as well. And he has the Bengals winning the Super Bowl against the 49ers that he predicted last week. So for me, let me back out of this. So my seeding played out as the Chiefs 1, Jags 2, Jets 3, Bengals 4, Chargers 5, Dolphins 6, Ravens 7. So I have the Chargers and Jets in the wild card. Give me the Jets on that one. Got the Dolphins, Jags. Give me Jags. Ravens, Bengals. Give me the Bengals. Then going into the divisional round, my divisional round went away. Bottom line for the playoffs, since it went away, I have the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. I think the Jags can, make it all the way to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, but I got the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. I don't think we're going to see a crack in the armor there. So I think I had the Eagles going back. I had the 49ers. I had the Eagles going back. So I basically have a rematch. I'm basic. I have Chiefs and Eagles, but I have the Eagles winning at this time.
Yeah, so I have, of course, your 4 division winners, 1 seed to 4 seed, Chiefs, Bills, or did I have the Jets winning? I forgot. I think I had the Bills winning, right? That division?
I think you had. That's a good
maybe
question.
It was
I think it was the Jets.
I think I did. I think, no, I did have the Jets winning because I said they were going to sign Dalvin Cook and win, the division. Yeah. So I have the Chiefs, Jets, Bengals, Jags, top 4 seeds. Bills make it in the wild card at the 5 seed. Ravens 6 seed. Honestly, Chargers at the 7 seed, or in that 5 to 7 range. So I'm gonna put the Chargers there at 7. So that's my 7 teams making the playoffs. It's tough. I have 3 teams from the AFC that are kind of a step or 2 above everybody else. As far as not only expectations, but maybe as teams. Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Jets. That's really the 4 teams, really. I know I said 3, but really 4. I don't think the Jets get there this first year. I would love it. But I don't think he's going to get there. I am going to predict the same thing I did last year, and hopefully it comes true. The Bills get to the Super Bowl, but they do not win it. The Eagles win it. Jalen Hurts gets his first ring.
Okay. All right. Bet. All right. Yeah, and like I said, just finish going on a monologue about. That's fair. No, I just think the Eagles got I think they got too much better. You know what I mean? They got 2 better. That's not the right That's not the right grammar. It's poor grammar on my end. But they just got so much better. With the pieces they drafted and everything. It's tough for me not to see the Eagles, number 1, make the Super Bowl, and number 2, winning the Super Bowl. This is another season, another season for Jalen Hurts to just continue to get better. It's just hard not to see the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. All right, so then we'll finish things up with award predictions. You don't have to do them all if you only want to do a couple. I know you said last week that you had the NFL MVP being NFC guy, so I'm looking forward to that. I jokingly said it would be Justin Fields. That was obviously a joke. So for Ricky, he's got the NFC MVP as Dak Prescott. He said, laugh, 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 not going to happen. And then AFC MVP, he's got Trevor Lawrence, and he's got the NFL MVP as Trevor Lawrence as well. So shout out to that. For Jacob, he gave the full awards prediction. So for NFL MVP, he's got Joe Burrow. For Offensive Player of the Year, he's got Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year, he's got Sauce Gardner or Micah Parsons. One is going to get injured this season. The other will win the award, is what he said. Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, he's got Bryce Young. CJ will give him a run for his money, but Bryce has better talent to throw to. Defensive Rookie of the Year, he's got Devin Witherspoon. Comeback Player of the Year, Tua or Russell Wilson. Coach of the Year, Sean Payton. That's his. So Shane, who's this NFC NFL MVP? Is it just Jalen or is it someone else?
So I think I'm going to go with Jalen, but I will tell you, who I was going to go with originally was going to be Dak Prescott. I think if he can do away with his interception problem and gets this team to an NFC championship, which I know the awards come out before that, right? But get them to, I don't think they'll win the NFC East, but if he gets them close and splits with the Eagles and putting up really good numbers and has maybe a 1-4 interception record, 1-5 record, maybe 30-5, something like that, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
I think he'll be in that conversation. Now, will he win it? I don't know. But, yeah, I have Jalen Hurts with the overall MVP. And I'm not going to lie to you. I also considered Geno Smith. I know y'all were like, oh, I bet it's Geno Smith, dude. But he would probably be my third overall, in that running, especially if the Seahawks do what I want them to do this year and win the division and do all that kinds of stuff. AFC, I'm gonna have Joe Burrow, even though I have the Bills with the number 2 overall seed or 3 overall seed or whatever seed I had them at, and making it to the Super Bowl. I think Joe Burrow, with his injuries that he's coming off of and the season that he can have, I think it'll just be a storybook, and it can be almost a Cinderella kind of season for him. Because, he's probably going to miss, 4 to 6 games, at somewhere in that range. And he could still toss up, 4,000 or 5,000 yards. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
As far as numbers-wise, to do that in 11, 12 weeks. Yeah. As far as Rookie of the Year, I do think it's going to be Bryce on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, honestly, it would not surprise me if it's fucking the defensive tackle that went to Georgia. I forgot his name
Jordan
already.
Davis.
Yeah. Because that defense is so stacked. It's gonna be free game for him.
I got to pull up the NFL draft again. I'm drawing a blank on some of these guys at the top. I really am. I'm drawing a massive blank for a couple of the rookies. I'm refreshing my brain.
Comeback Player of the Year, I would agree with. I think it was Jacob. It's either going to be Russell Wilson or Tua. And Sean Payton, Coach of the Year, I'm here for it any day of the week.
Here for it.
That means my Broncos are doing something.
Yeah, they're doing something right. You know what I mean? All right, so for me, for NFL MVP, I'm gonna go very basic on this one. I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes. I don't see the guy slowing down. I just don't, guys. I really, really don't. For offensive player of the year, I do have Justin Jefferson. You know, they drafted Jordan Addison. Adam Thielen walked, but with it being a rookie as his counterpart now, I think we're going to see him get even more targets and catches and yards than he did before. You know what I mean? Like, I really, really do. So I got Justin Jefferson winning offensive player of the year. For defensive player of the year, I could see Micah, I could see Sauce, and honestly, my instincts want me to go Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner, or honestly, basic answer, maybe even Aaron Donald. I don't think the Rams will be very good, but I think Aaron Donald will be damn good. You know what I mean? I think Aaron Donald will be damn good this year, like true Aaron Donald fashion. But I like Sauce Gardner here as probably my number one for defensive player of the year. For offensive rookie of the year, Bryce Young is, in my opinion, the easiest way to go because he's going to be like the only shining spot of that team. He's going to be the reason they win games. But I'm going to give you an alternate one, Shane. And I'm going to give the listeners, I'm going to give Ricky an alternate one. I'm going to give Jacob an alternate one to think about here. Bijan Robinson out of Atlanta as offensive rookie of the year. The return of running backs, baby. Let's get it. I'm going to lock in Robinson. I feel like he's going to get a ton of yards in receiving and rushing. This dude is balling out in camp right now, just destroying DBs in their passing game, plus what he can do in the run game. Give me Robinson as our offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year. I'm not going to go Jordan Davis either. And I'm not going to go whatever Ricky and Jacob said, whatever Jacob said. Jacob had Devin Witherspoon. I'm not going Devin Witherspoon either. For defensive rookie of the year, I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon for the New England Patriots. I feel like that's a match made in heaven right there. But there's multiple people that could be that defensive rookie. It could be Will Anderson. It could be Jordan Davis. I mean, not Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was an older guy. Jalen Carter is who it was. My bad.
Carter.
Jordan Davis he is an Eagle. Jordan Davis was drafted last year. He's an Eagle right now. My bad. Jalen Carter is who we were talking about. Our bad. Whatever. I think there's a lot of defensive rookie of the year guys. And I will say this for offensive rookie. Honestly, if I had to give you my top 3 offensive rookie guys right now, Bryce Young would come in at number 3. Do you want to know who I would have at number 2, Shane? And you're going to like this. My number 2 is your boy up in Seattle, JSN. Bijan Robinson.
Okay.
Give me one of those 2 for offensive rookie of the year. That's who I like it right there. Okay. Next up, I would have what? Comeback player of the year. Yeah, comeback player. So Russell Wilson, I think, is very fair. I think Tua is fair, but I'm going to give you 2 different names. I think both of them are very likely, and that's Odell Beckham with the Ravens or Calvin Ridley with the Jaguars. Give me Calvin Ridley, comeback player of the year, baby. Lock it in.
I like those, but I'll give you 2 more that you're probably not even thinking of.
Okay.
And one player will highly have to contribute to not only his team winning, not really like have to contribute a lot because their team's going to be stinky. But I mean, if he puts up decent game or 2 they're not supposed to, his name will be mentioned. John Mechie.
Ooh,
with the Houston Texans.
That's true. Yeah, if he balls out, that could be a good comeback player of the year candidate. You right there.
And then Jameson Williams with the Detroit Lions.
Also true. Coach of the year. You know what? I'm going to give you the coach of the year that should have been the coach of the year last year. Give me Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. Okay? He should have been coach of the year last year. He's going to win coach of the year this year. Book it, baby. Go ahead and whatever sports book has got his odds, hammer it. Hammer some cash down. Jaguars are going to run that division. Coach Peterson, coach of the year. Calvin Ridley, comeback player of the year. T-Law could be offensive player of the year. Book it. Let's get it.
It's going to be a Jaguar sweep this year.
Oh, yeah,
it.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's go. Duval! We're here for it. Anyway, so that covers all of our predictions. Like I said, next week we'll be jumping into the college football realm with a group of 5 predictions. We're doing conference winners, just general conversation about group of 5 team just to watch for, all of that good shit. Shane, you got anything that you want to shout out before I hit the music and we get out of here?
Nope. I'm hungry. I'm about to go eat.
I agree.
Don't know exactly what yet, but I'm gonna find something.
I agree. I'm also really hungry. So hopefully you made it to the end of the show. If you did, we appreciate the hell out of you. Make sure to tune in next week. We're live every Tuesday now, back for the football season around 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Next week, like I said, group of 5, then power 5. Then we actually get in our predictions here in a couple weeks as well. In a few weeks, actually. We should be having our fantasy draft live on the show before the Thursday for NFL kickoff for our fantasy league. Me and Shane here were the runner-up, champion him for last year's fantasy league. So shout out to that. So definitely make sure to tune in that episode and watch our rage reactions live, potentially, of when someone drafts a player that we really fucking wanted. So can't wait for it. Make sure to join the Discord, join our polls, and compete against us in predictions. Go over to Agent Inc., go over to Rogue Energy, use our referral link down below. We'd appreciate that extra support. Until next time, guys, have a good one. Bye.